down. It landed on a concrete culvert separating two fields, otherwise known as a drainage ditch. Ripped the gas tank open, and the car burst into flames. Now this is at 5:30 in the morning, and the 911 call was made at 8:30. So the car had burned with the 3 boys in it for 3 hours, and nobody saw anything. Till a couple that was going to church saw smoke and called it in. When the rescue squad got there, they immediately knew they needed the coroner. They thought they had 2 bodies in the car, and when the coroner got there, he realized there was 3. And so they helped him extract the 3 bodies out of the car, not knowing what 3 boys were in that car. And they all went back to their departments, and the coroner goes back to his office trying to figure out things. The car was burnt so badly, it took them 2 hours to get the VIN number off the motor. All this time it's Father's Day, and my husband's pissed off because we're on our way home, and he hasn't heard from either one of his kids, which is not like them. We get to Springfield, Illinois, which is about an hour from our house where we used to live. And we're going to stop and get some lunch, and I get a call on my cell phone from my soon-to-be daughter-in-law. It says, "Where are you guys at?" I said, "We're in Springfield. We're going to get something to eat, and then we'll be home." And she says, "No." She said, "I think you just need to skip lunch and just come on home as fast as you can." And I said, "Chrissy, what's wrong?" And she said, "I can't tell you." And she hung up the phone. And I knew immediately something was wrong, I just didn't know what. And so I called her back, and I explained to her what I was going to do when I got home if she didn't tell me what the hell was going on. And so she says to me, "Well, Goose doesn't want me to tell you." And I said, "I don't care what Goose wants. What is going on? Something's wrong. I can feel it." She said, "Well, there was a really bad car accident last night, and Hoss is dead." I can't tell you what my heart did at that moment, but I can tell you that you don't want your mother's heart or your dad's heart doing what mine did that day and what my husband's did that day. The ride from Springfield to our house is normally an hour. That ride seemed like it took us 3 hours to get home, and right before we got home, got another phone call from Chrissy, and she said, "Hey, be careful when you come down the road because there's a lot of people here." And she said there's cars parked on both sides of the road almost to the forest. We lived at 3/4 of a mile off of a highway, and she wasn't lying. There was cars double parked on both sides of the road. There was room for 1 car to get through, and when we pulled into our driveway, there was only 1 vehicle that I didn't recognize out of all of them. And it was this dark SUV. And there were 2 gentlemen sitting in it, and they waited for us to park and get out of our car. And I want you to listen to me really closely, because this is part of the coroner's job that he absolutely despises. But this is what he's going to tell your mom and dad. They get out of the car. He's usually with a deputy. And he walks up to your parents, and just like us, he said, "Mr. and Mrs. Watson?" And we said yes. And he said, "My name's Dennis Conover. I'm the Tazewell County Coroner, and I am really sorry to tell you, but Jeremy is dead." I had just met this man 90 seconds prior to this, and he stood there in front of me and let me beat the crap out of his chest with my fists. And he stood there and he took it. Also keep in mind that from March 1st, 2005 to July 3rd, 2006, there were 18 teens in Tazewell, Mason, and Fulton County in 15 car accidents, and only 3 out of the 18 didn't have drugs or alcohol in their system. That's pretty sad to me. This man had been to numerous other parents this whole year And this is all the news he had to tell them. So he had all these mothers beating the crap out of his chest, and the poor guy just stood there and took it. After he left, we had to figure out what funeral home we were going to use. When were we going to do a visitation? How are we going to do 3 visitations and 3 funerals in this small town in 1 week? Then your parents get to go to the funeral home, and they get to go to the basement of the funeral home, and they get to pick out your casket. Don't put your parents through that. It's grueling. I, as a mother, when I had to go do that, looked at the brown one, looked at the gray one, looked at the blue one, talking to myself, asking myself, well, what color would he like? Doesn't really matter at that point. When you do a visitation at a funeral home, they always ask you to be there, the family members, an hour before. Our visitation started at 4 o'clock, so we all got to the funeral home at 3 so we could have some family time. The last person walked out of that funeral home at midnight that night. So then we get to get in our car, drive home, get a couple hours of rest, and be back the next morning for a funeral. The funeral took forever too because so many people were there. Don't put your parents through sitting at a funeral, waiting to bury you, sitting in a cemetery for 2 hours while everybody's trying to get up the hill that wants to hear the service. Don't put your parents through that. They don't deserve it. 6 weeks later, they had to decide on how the boys died. So we had to go to a coroner's inquest. Boys and girls, if you ever want your mom and dad's heart ripped out twice in 1 year, make them go through one of those, because they find out everything that you did the last 72 hours of your life. Because when they do that autopsy, they dissect your body. They know what you ate. They know what you drank. They know everything you ingested. So we go to this inquest, and this is how our inquest came out. The driver died accidentally, but what they found in his toxicology test was him and the kid in the back seat 12 hours prior to the accident snorted an 8-ball of cocaine. That didn't get them high enough. 5 hours later, they smoked 5 joints, otherwise known as cannabis, marijuana cigarettes. And that didn't get them high enough. Then they huffed the can of air. There's 3 things that can happen to you when you huff. You can get high, you can pass out. If you do enough of it, it will explode your heart. I know more about that crap than I need to. What they found in our son was the equivalent of 4 beers. Am I happy about that? No. He gets it honestly. I like to drink beer. He wasn't driving the car, which doesn't make it right. He didn't kill anybody. But I can live with 4 beers in his system. Because we always instilled in our kids, if you're going to drink, don't drive. Call me. People ask me all the time why I do this. Like, this is going on my 8th year of doing this. I consider it my job because I learned a lot about teenagers in the year 2006. Everybody thinks they know their kids. We thought we knew ours. We thought we knew Jake and John. We didn't know they did those kinds of things. This weekend's your prom. This is your senior, your junior, your senior year of high school. This is the best years of your life, because once you get out of high school, then there's college, and then you got to work until you can retire. Protect every moment of your life that you have, because it can be taken away in an instant. If you get in a situation where you think your friends are doing something, please call your parents. They're not going to be half as mad if you call them as they are if you get in that car and you get hurt or you die. One thing that I forgot during the inquest is one of the detectives came up to me and told me that I was the lucky mother, and it kind of offset my thinking. I'm like, how do you feel that I'm the lucky mother? While they were doing the toxicology test, that's how they found out about the huffing, that and the can of air that was at the crash site. The two boys that huffed, the driver lived 29 minutes in the fire, and the kid in the back seat lived 27. I often wonder what they went through during those minutes. Don't make your parents wonder. In closing, I have 10 minutes of homework for you guys Saturday night. If you take anything away from today, this is what I want you to take from me. While you're in your big room and the music's playing and you're all beautiful in your dresses and you're all handsome in your tuxes, I want you to sit there for 5 minutes in that room and just think about all the laughter that's going on. And then when you go out in the hallway or to the bathroom, I want you to take another 5 minutes. And I want you to think about how much laughter would be in that other room if you weren't a part of it. And I want you to think about your parents. We didn't celebrate Thanksgiving or Christmas for 2 years. Still have yet to celebrate Mother's and Father's Day. We gave them up. Mother's Day's next weekend. We'll do something this weekend. You lost Father's Day, I'll lose Mother's Day. Don't make your parents do that. Don't make them go to your grave and lay a grave blanket and a wreath for Christmas. Let them buy you a gift and hand it to you. You may think your parents are too strict. Nope. They just want to be able to hug you tomorrow. Tell you they love you. I would give $1 million to be able to do that. Thank you.
I went to a party, Mom. I remembered what you said. You told me not to drink, Mom, so I drank soda instead. I felt really proud inside, Mom, the way you said I would. I didn't drink and drive, Mom, even though the others said I should. I know I did the right thing, Mom. I know you're always right. Now the party is ending, Mom, and everyone drives out of sight. As I got into my car, Mom, I knew I'd get home in one piece, because of the way you raised me, Mom, to be responsible and sweet. I started to drive away, Mom, but as I pulled onto the road, the other car didn't see me, Mom, and it hit me like a load. As I lie here on the pavement, Mom, I hear the policeman say, "The other guy is drunk, Mom, and now I'm the one who'll pay." I'm lying here dying, Mom. I wish you'd get here soon. How come this happened to me, Mom? My life bursts like a balloon. There is blood all around me, Mom, and most of it is mine. I hear the paramedics say, Mom, I'll die in a very short time. I just wanted to tell you, Mom, I swear I didn't drink. It was the others, Mom. The others didn't think. He didn't know where he was going, Mom. He was probably at the same party as I. The only difference is, Mom, he drank and I will die. Why do people drink, Mom? It can ruin your whole life. I'm feeling sharp pains now, Mom. Pains just like a knife. The guy who hit me is walking, Mom. I don't think that is fair. I'm lying here dying, Mom, while all he can do is stare. Tell my brother not to cry, Mom. Tell Daddy to be brave. And when I go to heaven, Mom, write Daddy's girl on my grave. Someone should have told him, Mom, not to drink and drive. If only they had taken time, Mom, I would still be alive. My breath is getting shorter, Mom. I'm becoming very scared. Please don't cry for me, Mom, because when I needed you, you were always there. I have one last question, Mom, before I say goodbye. I didn't ever drink, Mom, so why am I to die? This is the end, Mom. I wish I could look you in the eye to say these final words, Mom. I love you. and goodbye.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making Operation Prom Night possible today: the American Red Cross, the Central Illinois Chapter, the Illinois Department of Transportation, Pekin Community High School, the Pekin Police Department, Pekin Fire Department, Advanced Medical Transport, Dr. Jeff Baldy at the Tazewell County Coroner, Preston Hanley Funeral Home, OSF St. Francis Medical Center, EMS Education, Annabit Towing, Ideal Troy Cleaning, United Radio Service Incorporated, Aaron Craig, and Michelle Watson. At this time, we are going to dismiss back into the school where you will be heading to 6th hour, so please listen carefully in how we're going to dismiss.